Hi, this is Silverpaw Reads, and I'm bringing you another chapter of Murder on Green Hill Island. Don't forget, down in the description is a link to the story, so if you want to read along there, you can, or if you want to read it yourself, go right ahead. Also, don't forget to like the video, leave a comment down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and maybe share it around with some friends that might like some cool fan fiction. Anyways, here's Chapter 3. We're rolling in 5, 4, 3, 2... One of the cameramen bellowed before pointing out to the Tenric to symbolize to her that they were back on the air. One of her interns that had previously been readjusting some blush on her face had quickly darted off just before they were put back on the air. Gold practically glowed, her beauty radiating as she began to readdress the viewers. She then turned to Sonic, who wore a crisp white t-shirt. So then, when we left you, you had gone running around the island to look for any signs that somebody else was there. You also have alluded to the fact that you knew that it was indeed one of your friends, but how did you know? Gold asked. Well, you see, Sonic pondered in thought for a moment, racking his brain to try to remember all the finer details of his adventure on the dreaded island before he answered. Silver held his head, pain throbbing from resting on the hollowed wooden stump in their makeshift campground. He was in a slightly cranky mood after being rudely awakened by the loud stamping of Sonic's red shoes on the gravel as the Sapphire Speedster sprinted up to the two resting inhabitants, screeching loudly to a stop. "Could you approach more quietly?" Silver complained, still clutching his head in an attempt to subdue the increasing pain. "No, guys, this is serious," Sonic breathed worriedly. By this point, Blaze had been roused from her own slumber and offered the hedgehog a worried and confused look, indicating for him to continue. I did a lap of the whole perimeter. There was absolutely no sign of anybody, any camp, or any watercraft that somebody could have used to get on the island. He spewed out the words as quickly as they came to his mind. But that would mean, Blaze trailed off, that the only people on this island are the 12 of us. Silver finished, his eyes widening when the realization hit them. Instantly, the three of them darted their heads from left to right, glancing around to see if they could spot anybody lurking in the shadows. When they were sure they had no surveyors, the trio all took a seat and began to discuss suspects. "I think it's Tails," Silver stated plainly. "He's the only one smart enough to perpetuate this type of plan. Using his computer skills, he probably rigged the lottery in the first place to let Cream win just to set this whole thing up." "Silver, shut up!" Sonic verbally attacked him without warning, earning a surprised yelp and defensive stance from the white hedgehog. "Just because you're jealous doesn't make him a killer," Blaze defended the absent fox. "I'm just saying, any one of us could be capable of this atrocity, so don't rule him out just because you have a boner for him." Silver spat back at Sonic, who gripped his fist angrily. "Okay, you raise a good point," Blaze breathed, trying to quell the situation. "It could be Tails. I'm also thinking it's Scourge. He probably made up the whole stuff about the boat to cover his tracks when he sunk it." "That's true, he was pretty eager to leave us," Silver nodded. "Let's not jump to any conclusions," Sonic said. Silver and Blaze sighed in unison before going through the list of friends and any possible motives for wanting to kill Cream. Eventually, Blaze spoke up again. "I think we should also add Shadow's name to the list, since he was the least attached to Cream." "Now hold on a minute," Sonic chimed in. "Stop defending everybody," Silver said, frustrated. "One of us did it, so don't get everyone the benefit of the doubt." "No, I mean, hold on. How did Shadow even get invited? I don't think I've ever seen the hedgehog interact with Cream. He could have lied about it all," Sonic stated, thinking back to all the parties. "That's a good point," Blaze added, Shadow's name to the top of the crudely drawn list of all of her friends that she had crafted in the dirt with a stick, displacing Mina and Scourge's names, who had previously been on the top. "Where is he, by the way?" Sonic asked, looking around. Silver and Blaze both told him how Amy and Tails had gone to try to check the security camera footage, and how Knuckles and Shadow had gone to raid the house for any food that they could all indulge in. "I'll be right back. I just want to go check on the two of them," Sonic barked and set off in a run before Blaze or Silver had a chance to say anything more. After the dust cloud had settled, blanketing the two in dirt, Silver picked up the stick and wrote Sonic's name in the middle of the list of names. "Why are you doing that?" Blaze asked, snatching the stick off him. "That guy likes to run off on his own a lot," Silver remarked. "That's just Sonic. He always likes to go off on his own," Blaze replied. "Let's not rule him out, is all I'm saying." He crossed his arms. The trees grew quite close together, making traversing through the dense forest quite hard for the three women. Sally had taken the front lines after both Rouge and Mina refused to take the brunt of the trek. Sally was cut by twigs and smacked in the face by branches as she tried to cut a path through the foliage for her followers. She began to get frustrated by their reluctance to help, opting to focus on how they look at the pressing matters at hand. After asking one of them to take the lead for a bit for the third time, she eventually snapped. "Look, who gives a crap about how you look out here?" she screamed suddenly, throwing her hands up in the air. "If you both haven't noticed, there's a bloody killer on the loose and we need help save our friends. Now stop being so fucking selfish and try to care about somebody besides yourselves for once in your miserable lives." Sally finished. She turned her attention back to the bush ahead of her and continued to hack her way forward. "What a bitch," Mina whispered to Rouge, who nodded in agreement. "She's just a bit sad that she doesn't have the curves that I do." She motioned to her body as Mina rolled her eyes. She noticed out of the corner of her eye a hidden little path that snaked its way to the left. Avoiding the thick parts of the forested area, she nudged Rouge and pointed towards the path. "Shush, don't tell little Miss Perfect over there. Let her play Tarzan and rough it up while we stroll happily down the path." Rouge smirked as Mina joined in a quiet snicker as the two turned down the path, unbeknownst to the infuriated squirrel. Shadow knew that he should be looking for food. He knew that separating with Knuckles when a killer was out there somewhere was a bad idea, but he just needed some time to himself. Some time to grieve. He'd been stuck with the rest of them ever since they found the body, and he desperately wanted some time to himself. "We shouldn't be here long. Let's split up so we can gather some more stuff quicker. Meet back here in 20 minutes. If you're not back, I'm leaving," he said to Knuckles once they entered the house. Before Knuckles could say another word in protest, Shadow slipped away without a word, leaving the red echidna to wander the house. Shadow skulked up the stairs and down the hallway, closing the white-painted door behind him to block out the rest of the world from his bedroom. He walked over to his bed, digging deep into his duffel bag, and picked out a small silver locket. He opened it up to see a small picture of him and Cream, sitting under a cherry blossom tree, smiling at the camera with their fingers entwined. Shadow closed the locket and brushed over the small engraving on the bottom that had the letters CR and SH with a plus symbol between the two, uniting them together in one sentence. Shadow turned the locket around in his hand before shoving it into the baggy pocket of the dark gray tracksuit pants that he had been wearing. Afterwards, Shadow began to head downstairs to rejoin the red echidna, feeling slightly guilty for forcing his friend to do all the work. Meanwhile, "If you're not back, I'm leaving." Shadow had already left before Knuckles could interject. Knuckles felt a small rage begin to brew inside his stomach as he stomped over to the large kitchen on the ground floor of the mansion. He was sick of being treated like nothing. He was sick of being the butt of every joke and sick of that stupid bat constantly teasing him. "Stupid Shadow," he grumbled as he began rifling through the many drawers and cupboards in the kitchen, looking for tasty food that he could bring back to camp. Always wanting to do stuff on his own, typical. Knuckles continued to complain whilst he searched. It wasn't until he was startled by a voice calling to him from behind that he stopped his mental scolding of his friend. "Knuckles?" the familiar voice called out. Knuckles tensed up, clutching the cans of food that he'd already grabbed. He turned slowly, but once he saw that individual whose voice it belonged to, did he allow his muscles to relax and his guard to drop. "Oh, it's just you, what—" he began, but was cut off when the animal instantly lashed out, slicing Knuckles' neck cleanly with one swift swipe. Knuckles' eyes bulged as he dropped the canned food to the ground. He quickly brought up both his hands to press against the wound in surprise, trying desperately to stop the blood that began to drip down his neck. Knuckles tried to scream, but all the blood had entered his esophagus, silencing the screams, and Knuckles coughed up blood, gurgling the crimson substance that had flooded his mouth. The echidna tried desperately to breathe out blood filling up his lungs, causing him to fall to the floor. The individual who held the knife smirked before slipping silently out of the kitchen. "What are their problems?" the agitated green hedgehog remarked, running his hands through his quills angrily. Fiona skulked behind him, thumbing her skinny jean pockets. She watched, intrigued at the reaction that she was witnessing from Scourge. "Why do you care?" she asked, shrugging her shoulders carelessly. "I don't. They're just so annoying, always trying to be the goody-goodies. You know how they all turned on us instantly, Fi?" He turned to look at her. "Yeah, but who cares? We know we're innocent, so why should we care what they think?" "I just do. I hate always being thought of as the bad guy." He kicked up the dirt next to him, creating a small dust cloud that stuck to his shoes. "But we are the bad guys," Fiona purred, stepping closer to Scourge and wrapping her hands around his waist, letting them fall slightly to his hips. Scourge bit his bottom lip, mustering up all of his courage to resent the temptress's gesture. "Yeah, but—" Scourge began, but was interrupted by the sounds of Rouge and Mina as they walked up to the two. Scourge smiled, stepping back from Fiona, but the fox just scowled at them, growling under her breath. "Hey, guys," Mina began, taking the lead. "What are you doing here?" Fiona barked at them hastily. We just wanted to say we're sorry for accusing you before," Mina stammered, taken slightly aback by the immense animosity that Fiona showed towards the two of them. Calm down, kitty, Rouge addressed Fiona before turning back to Scourge, winking at him seductively. That gained a warning growl from the vixen. We wanted to make sure you two were just alright out here and thought you should come join us. You know, safety in numbers, Mina added. Yeah, 2 are better than 1. Rouge blew a kiss at Scourge, who smiled in reply. Fiona couldn't take this display anymore and instantly quipped a response. Why would we ever... She began, but was interrupted by Scourge, who finished her sentence. Ever say no when the stakes are so dire? Of course we'll accompany you back. Fiona's mouth fell completely agape, watching her boyfriend and partner in crime walk over to the two. Come on, Fiona, it's just until we get off this island. He urged her, and after a moment of silence, she begrudgingly accepted and fell in line between the other 3 as they walked along the trail. Fiona marched in line behind Mina, Rouge, and Scourge as she angrily swore all the profanities she could think of under her breath. She kept picturing the way the bat had flirted with her boyfriend in front of her, and how he led her, smiling like a bumbling idiot the whole time. How could he help those dweebs? Fiona's mind kept asking. Slowly, her anger against the whole group, but Rouge in particular, grew until she couldn't help herself and decided to get some sweet revenge on the oblivious bat. The winding path twisted around a thick oak tree, passing by a big patch of mud in the undergrowth of the mighty tree's roots. Scourge jumped over the mud first, before turning around and holding out his hand, helping Mina over unscathed. However, when he held out his hand to help Rouge, Fiona stuck her foot out in front of the bat, causing her to fall to the ground. Rouge screeched as she fell headfirst into the mud, getting completely submerged from head to toe in the brown gunk. What the fuck? She screamed as she rose, her eyes ablaze with fury. Whoops. Fiona suppressed a laugh as she stepped past the mud and continued along the path. Sorry, I didn't see you there. How dare you get me all filthy? Rouge spoke, lunging at the fox, who sidestepped out of the way just in time to avoid being tackled to the ground by the bat. Calm down, it was a simple mistake, Fiona chuckled, running ahead of the others. You'll pay for that, Rouge bellowed as she ran after the fox. You better watch your step, she threatened, her voice turning slightly sinister as the thoughts of revenge clouded her thought process. Scourge ran after the two, trying to stop the oncoming fight before things got too far. Mina followed close behind, smiling to herself as she looked up into the dense canopy above her. Hello, Knuckles? Shadow? Sonic called from the entrance. He pushed against the firm door and it creaked open slowly, allowing the daylight from the outside to slowly creep into the dark room, eliminating the shadows. Sonic daringly entered the mansion, crossing the threshold as he stepped further into the home. He passed by the open, empty space that connected the front door to the rest of the house, shivering as his feet connected with the black and white checkered floor. Sonic, what are you doing here? A voice asked as Sonic stepped into the lavish lounge room. Sonic turned to see the ebony hedgehog walk in from an adjacent room, his eyes casting an inquisitive glance. I didn't expect anyone to come with us. I just wanted to make sure you guys were alright. Where's Knucklehead? We should be heading back to the group. Sonic gestured towards the door, wanting to get out of the eerie mansion more and more with every passing second. He was supposed to meet me here right about now. Shadow sighed exasperatedly. It's always like him to be late. Sonic and Shadow decided to go seek him out, noting that he was probably still in the kitchen collecting food for the others. However, nothing could have prepared the two for the sight that lay before them. Sonic was the first to see the corpse. He gasped, covering his mouth as his eyes fell upon the deceased echidna, his neck cut and bloodied and his mouth lying open. Sonic could still make out the fear in his open eyes. Shut. Sonic tried to say, but he was unable to form the syllables, let alone the word of his companion. Shadow stepped into the room, asking what was going on, but was immediately silenced when he saw the body. Sonic, I swear, I didn't do this. Shadow instantly jumped to a defensive stance, holding his hands out in front of him and shaking his head vigorously. Sonic turned, all of the color had drained from his face, and he looked like a ghost, and seemingly possessed by the revenge-seeking ghost of the formerly deceased. You killed Knuckles? Sonic hissed, fear controlling his thoughts, anger taking charge of his voice, and disgust instructing his body. Sonic, come on, you know me, I wouldn't do this. Shadow pleaded his case, backing up into a corner. First Cream, then Knuckles? Why did you do it? I didn't kill Cream! Shadow snapped suddenly, causing Sonic to falter slightly. The sound of his love's name and the horrid accusation fueled Shadow's movements. He knew he had to get to the others and prove his innocence before Sonic did. In the blink of an eye, Shadow turned and sprinted out of the mansion, making use of his super speed. You can't escape, Sonic shouted, giving chase behind the midnight hedgehog as the two raced back to the camp. Blaze and Silver sat, an awkward silence enveloping them as they waited, their heads on a swivel for their friends to return. Blaze perked up and Silver slouched further down as they saw a golden fox and a pink hedgehog emerge from over the horizon, strolling down to the path to the campsite. However, Blaze's happiness didn't last long as she saw the solemn expressions on the two animals' faces. "Tails, Amy, what happened?" Blaze asked worriedly, her mind instantly assuming the worst. Amy, upon seeing her distressed face, consoled her friend. No, don't worry, Blaze. Nobody else is dead." Amy reassured the cat, whose tense body immediately relaxed. "Then why do you look so disheartened?" Silver asked, joining the four. Tails offered him a smile, but he turned away, focusing his attention on Amy. "Well, you see," Tails began, "we went to the surveillance house, but when we got there, we saw that somebody had sliced through the power. This means that we have absolutely no telephone service, no phone in the mansion, and no power anywhere, and all the security cameras in the mansion are down." "So basically we're screwed," Silver asked. "Hey, look on the bright side," Amy offered, trying to add an optimistic outlook on the group. "What bright side?" all three replied in unison. Now that we know we can't get any service, we don't have to keep checking to see if we have some." She shrugged her shoulders. The three of her companions all sighed as they noticed Fiona, Scourge, Rouge, and Mina emerge from the tree line. "Yay, you found them!" Tails cheered as he rushed over to the group with the other three following close behind. "Hey, where's Sally?" Blaze asked as she noticed the squirrel wasn't with the group. "She was being annoying, so we went our separate ways as we searched." Rouge shrugged, not really caring about the annoying squirrel as she was more focused on how angry she was at the fox who poked her tongue out at the bat. "How could you just leave her out there?" Tails and Blaze cried out in unison. "She'll be fine. I bet she'll return in a couple of minutes," Mina assured the rest of the group. "Fiona?" Amy stated plainly, staring down the fox. "Amy?" Fiona nodded in return with equal disdain in her voice. Feeling the animosity, awkwardness, and frustration that swirled around the group, Mina decided to speak up to change the topic of conversation and clear everybody's minds. "So, has Sonic returned from his..." She trailed off as she noticed the list of names with the title of possible killers on top of it. Silver followed his gaze and quickly tried to rush over and kick up dirt to hide the evidence, but Scourge was too quick and pinned the hedgehog to the side as the others ran up to read it. "How could you just make a list to rank your close friends on how likely they are to be killers?" Amy asked, an undertone of ferocity in her voice. "This is cold, even for my standards," Fiona barked. "Why the hell is my name up near the top?" Mina squealed, her eyes narrowing at Blaze and Silver as she felt anger rise inside her. "No, you guys don't understand," Blaze and Silver defended themselves. "Blaze, I thought we were your friends. We aren't sociopaths that you can judge our insanity, the likelihood to be mentally unstable or ability to be cruel killers," Tails remarked, his eyes not being able to look at her face. "Did you really write this up?" However, before Blaze could respond to the disheartened fox, Shadow and Sonic sprinted into the middle of the group, instantaneously, both puffing for breath. "Everyone, don't believe him!" Shadow cried, watching as an incredibly confused look was plastered over all their faces. However, he watched as it was replaced with one of fear when Sonic spoke up. "Shadow killed Knuckles!" Sonic screamed. "How could you?" Blaze screamed. "You monster!" Tails added. "Fuck you!" Silver blurted out angrily. I swear, I didn't do it. I was upstairs at the time, I promise!" Shadow begged. "And why should we believe you? I bet you did kill Knuckles," Amy poked him. "Why were you upstairs when you were supposed to be getting food?" Blaze asked accusingly. That's when a horrible thought popped into Shadow's head. "It was you!" he yelled, causing another wave of confusion to knock into the group, even Sonic this time. "You must have framed me, and you were the one who discovered Cream's body," Shadow added air quotes around the word. "That's ridiculous. She was with me the whole time," Silver defended Blaze, stepping between her and the accusing hedgehog. "You're just trying to throw blame on other people. First you murdered Cream and then Knuckles." "I didn't kill Cream!" Shadow exploded in a fiery rage, surprising and startling everybody. "Why are you getting so angry then?" Sonic posed the impossible question. Shadow looked down at his shoes. He knew he couldn't avoid the subject any longer. He had to come clean and admit it to everybody. The real reason that he was even on the island. "Because I love her." "And the plot thickens," Gold spoke, astonished at the turn of Sonic's tale. "Yeah, I was just as surprised. So, after he said that..." No, Gold interrupted again, rather rudely this time. "Before we can hear the rest of your tale, we need to take a quick commercial break." Sonic sighed and nodded, getting rather annoyed about all of the breaks. We'll be right back after these messages. Gold addressed the camera and her viewers, who were all watching the night's programming. Alright, that is it for Chapter 3. Things are getting tense. I'll see you guys next time for Chapter 4. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.